Hello.
Hello.
For the final time this NRL season, let's talk about the week that was. The weekend that was.
The weekend that was, yeah.
The NRLW Grand Final happened. And
It was actually a very good game.
very good game. The Sydney Roosters decided to channel the '07 Patriots and win every game except the one that matters. Man, that's a rough one for that season to end, isn't it?
Look, they won that ball straight up.
Yeah.
The big forward wasn't in the team. They lost a winger the day before to an ACL injury in training.
Justin Kell. Oh, I thought you.
No, they lost like Vidi.
Vidi, who's been excellent. So they're behind the eight ball from the start.
So they're still missing what's her name? Karen Aitken.
Yeah.
So they were a weakened Roosters team.
And the fact that they actually got to a lead after being behind shows a lot.
Oh, they did. They did so
Shows a lot of their courage, right? I mean, they really fought hard right to the end. And look, was it a perfect game of football? No. But it was an entertaining game of football.
It was great.
And Miller Fanga deserved the player of the game. Absolutely.
So good.
It's like Karen or something.
Yeah, the Karen's
She's so good.
She was very, very good. But there was one talking point.
Did
That was
saw the try. None of the pictures that we saw 100% said that she did.
I think it just barely brushed the grass.
It's poor.
It would have had to be right at the start because after then it didn't touch the ground at all.
I think I'm okay with it being good, but it's a 50.
But what gets me is that the referee, who by the way had a really good game, I'm not bagging her, but in this instance, she was behind, like towards the dead ball line. There is no way she sees whether that ball hits the ground, but she calls it anyway.
I think they're kind of told to do that because now that the bunker can intervene, like
Look, I understand that, but it sort of sways the bunker towards the try.
Well, yeah, because now they have to find evidence to take it off. Yeah,
So you keep going, well, that's no try.
they have to find evidence to give it to her, which I don't think there was any.
That's it came down to her call on field.
Yeah,
And look, I'm not bagging Belinda Sharp. She's an excellent referee. That was a call that she probably would like to have back, I think.
yes, I feel like us as NRL fandom and the NRL itself have to choose between the old system with the benefit of the doubt or the current system with the referee on field giving like a cautionary ruling. Because I don't think there is a middle ground that works.
But see, it's kind of like the cricket one, right?
Yeah,
The soft thing was out, so it's more likely that the batsman is going to be out,
yeah.
right? It's the same here. If the soft call is try, it's more likely it's going to stay as a try than not.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's just not much that can be done about that. I don't think.
I know, and I'm not like I said, I'm not bagging out Belinda Sharp. She was very, very good. It's just that that just puts a little bit of a sour taste on the final wash-up.
Yeah.
Had it been a definite, like had she gone bang right into the ground, would have been a different story.
One that went the Roosters way, I thought that was also.
That was a hard one. I thought maybe it could have been an obstruction-y type thing, but I looked at it again and I thought, no, that's actually a defensive read by the Brisbane Bronco player,
Right.
onto a decoy personage. So that was my read on it anyway, and I thought the Roosters actually tried really, really hard.
Oh, you can't fault them for their effort in this game.
And I think they were really ticked off at the end from that try, I think, and that's why the big Barney broke out right at the end as well. And I think one of the girls is probably going to have a rest at the start of next year.
Yeah, I think one of the Roosters punched Julia Robinson.
It's Julie Robinson in the face.
She hasn't done anything wrong. She's great.
Anybody that should have just punched that Broughton chick or whatever she is. She's probably a little bit the chirpy one.
She was robbed at the Dally M.
I don't think she was robbed.
No, look,
I
good one either way.
She was my I hope she wins it because she deserves it, but I think Upton was always going to win it.
Yeah.
The other big player for Brisbane, Shalom Salah. So
Yep.
just
Yeah, that run over try.
This was the quintessential performance from her.
So there was one that was slightly better from the Roosters. Their number 17, who I can't think of right now.
Lapamela.
Yeah, she ran over like 5.
Yeah, that was a good try.
There.
Yeah,
Oh, there, yeah.
yeah, she was great.
She ran over like 5 people to score. Like, it's like very good. And when she was on, she was probably the best forward on the park. She
Yeah,
was causing havoc to the Broncos forwards, that's for sure.
I'll stick with Stella. So maybe you call it favoritism, but she is the rookie of the year for a reason.
She's very, very good. But then, like I said, this lady here did a very, very good job
Yes, I agree.
coming off the bench. She was the best bench player by a long distance.
Roosters player wobbling out.
No, that was that girl too.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
she lost control, but she actually caught it on her own shoulder and
Yeah.
didn't touch anybody.
Yeah, I don't think
And then she brought it back down and changed hands. That's how much control she had over it.
Very well.
So it was just a good try. I thought, oh, here come the Roosters, they're going to get them.
And they just ran out.
They ran out of steam and
People.
no even thunder sort of
Yeah.
happened.
And
She's Warriors down now.
Yes, so Brisbane are going to lose a lot with that one. Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really, really good for them.
Reload.
She's going to be very, very good for them next year. Brisbane are going to miss her something fierce.
I think they will.
I don't think Brisbane.
I don't think
will,
they really
but
have like a. They don't really have like a ready-made replacement for her.
No.
I don't know what they would do. I mean, they successfully transitioned Robinson from wing to centre, so maybe they can do the same with like Kerry Johnson or something like that.
maybe, but they're still not going to be the same as
No,
person here. Who
but they,
absolutely kicked butt.
yeah, they'll probably make up for it by getting Jesse Southwell. So who cares?
yeah, fair enough.
I hate Brisbane.
So
I feel like the easy standout performer for the Roosters was Olivia Koenig.
we'll get
As she always is. She was excellent in the game.
3 of the 4 stats for the Roosters.
We had 20 runs for nearly 190 metres. She was excellent.
But yeah, I don't think there was a bad player on the Roosters. It's just like we said, they were missing some of their heavy artillery, right? And I think if Amber Hall's there, different story.
Oh, absolutely.
Fit Amber Hall.
I completely agree. Yeah,
Roosters win. It's as simple as that.
Well, yeah, the Roosters were battered in the
I think if they had Taryn Aiken, they win.
Yeah, and if they have their winger who's would have been 100%.
I've got Naividi there. Naividi is so good.
He's very fast. So
It's an unfortunate end to what was truly a great season for this Roosters team. And
look, there's no shame in it, right? It's like I think Bellamy said, would you think of the year as being a failure if you don't win the grand final? What is that crap? You've made the grand final again.
Yeah.
That's not a failure.
Congrats to Brisbane.
Yeah, well done, Brisbane. They've got all the titles.
All the titles. Yeah.
Apart
from the state cup.
State Cup, that's the Warriors. So well done to the Warriors. Yeah.
But yeah, the big dance. What a freaking game. Well, this is
your classic game of two halves.
This would not have been a more perfect summation of what the NRL was in 2025. This was the perfect game to wrap up the season.
So once again, it wasn't what you would call a classic game of football. There was a lot of courage. There was a lot of guts. I think, Melbourne needing to replace a player fairly early on didn't help them.
Yeah, that was a big loss.
And Howard had to go off with a groin. Apparently, he snapped a tendon in his groin or something.
I love Tyron Wishart.
He's not.
Centre may be the only position he can't play.
That's the problem, right? He's such a good player, but yeah, he's not a big enough body in that little area, right? And
That'd be nice.
I don't want to.
Let's just talk about this game.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about in this game. Dean Mariner scoring immediately was a lot of fun.
He nearly didn't.
He nearly did.
That was really dumb.
He nearly went full Sonny Bill Williams.
He almost dragged his foot. I think maybe it was just above, but it was pretty damn close to crossing that line. So I'm pretty sure that Madge would have had kittens had that happened. I mean, he scored the second fastest try in grand final history.
Yes. Very good.
Yes.
And then I thought once Melbourne went back-to-back through Meany and Katoa, I thought that there was going to be a lot of problems. And then Warbrick scored, which I thought was going to be even worse. But, by black magic, seemingly, Reece Walsh turns in possibly one of the best, like, final 50 minutes of football a grand final has ever seen.
Yeah, because he had his poor moments in the first little bit.
Yes, this is absolutely true.
And yeah, I mean that's
Could he have been
that's
sent
one of the talking
Should
points.
he have? He should have almost been sent off.
I think-
Bad.
I think there would be a lot less discourse if Trent Loiero wasn't binned at the back end of this game.
Of course, because then that would have been fairer.
Exactly. That is a very fair critique.
And I think what happens with the fact that he got away with a $3,000 fine. Trent Loiero is missing 2 matches. And at least he came in like a normal tackling motion. Reece Walsh's motion was not even close to being a normal tackle.
If you want,
snapped in half.
if you want to find like a really good like for like comparison to that sort of stuff, you remember that one hit that Latrell Mitchell did on Joey Manu those years ago?
He got sent off for
He
that.
got sent off for that. I get the complaints around this.
But here's the deal. And Reece had a great game. I'm not saying he didn't. But you can see why people outside think he's pretty protected.
Oh, yeah. That's
He's
fair.
And we know he's the pin-up boy or whatever else, and I don't care. But he needs to be treated like everybody else. Look what happened to Latrell when he was doing this. It all went to his head. What happens if it does that for this guy and he becomes not as good as he could actually be?
Yeah.
And remember, it's not just Latrell that it's happened to. It's happened to a number of people who've had David Fafita. It's had all these people who've been talked about, Jeremiah Nene. All these people who've been talked up. The next few years have been pretty slow. Yeah. In fact, Fafita's has been terrible.
I feel like the difference is that when those sorts of people were being talked up as like the next, that was when they were rookies or like coming through. This is Reece Walsh's 5th season in the NRL. I feel like he's had enough time to get that out of his system now.
I'm not so sure. He still acts a little bit immature for his age.
The
thing,
Plumber.
yeah, see that was funny. It was funny. It was thrown in the face of Melbourne.
He's not allowed to do that.
He was not good sportsmanship. You know who did show good sportsmanship? Harry Grant. When he did his speech.
Yeah,
a great speech.
Yeah, his was really, really good.
He was very demure about it and that sort of thing. He was very congratulatory to Brisbane. He didn't have a go at anybody. He even thanked the referees, right? So, and this is something that they don't generally do.
Of course, Melbourne thanked the referees.
Well, the referees didn't help them at all. No. So I thought Atkins was okay, but I think he was leaning a little towards the Brisbane side for a lot of the decisions.
I feel like in general play it was okay. I don't think that anyone really got preferential treatment in the ruck.
This was basically just a game of which team the NRL liked better.
It was, and either of them could, and it was close. You know why it was close? Because they're close in the number of fans that they have. One's got 1.3 million, one's got 1.25 million. It's very, very close.
Well, the NRL has to protect the next of Melbourne because if they have one bad year, they'll all be beat to all the teams that are in Victoria.
Yeah, well, you know what I have read, and it's kind of viable, is that people are saying they needed the Brisbane Broncos to win because the Brisbane Lions won, and everybody's going to go to AFL.
Right.
So the Lions won last year as well. Brisbane didn't make the final last year, so it didn't actually matter.
I don't think that argument really works.
I think it kind of does. There was no way Brisbane Broncos were actually making the finals last year, so look, I know there are moments, and you can't put it down to just one person. But I'm sure a lot of people are going to be putting it down, but Tui Tanakamita's dropped 5-9.
Well, how sick must you feel?
If he scores that, they go to 28-6.
It's game over.
And it's game over.
It's game over.
Melbourne, they probably run away with it.
It does mean we have to give kudos to Reece Walsh for a phenomenal goal line defensive.
Well, he just bumped into him. I don't think it's enough. If Tui had actually put it in the proper hand,
he scores.
Yes, he should have swapped it to his left hand and put it down. So his right hand gets bumped. It doesn't actually matter. Sit down, 28-12. Melbourne are on a roll. And it became a 10-point turnaround because it became a 7-tackle set. Brisbane score, not on that set, but the set after they got a repeat. and that turned it around by 10 points.
It's so weird that no points were scored in the final 20 minutes of this game. This doesn't feel like that.
There was a lot of stuff. But Melbourne in the final 20 minutes had the best chances to score.
Absolutely.
They've made enough of the chances, and I feel so bad for Eli Katala. He was immense.
He's so good.
He was so good.
So bad for him.
He scores a try, almost sets up Pappenhausen for another one by breaking through some pretty feeble defence, to be fair.
Dummy, and then passed up.
Yeah.
He should have just dummied and kept going.
I have to question Melbourne's game planning coming into this because the entire time in the lead up, we were thinking they're going to kick over Brisbane because that's where they have the advantage. They didn't.
Here's the thing. Brisbane had a plan to nullify that, and they were happy to give away penalties for shepherding players off the ball so that Coates was completely nullified. And I think if they come out and say that that's what they're going to do, it should be a professional foul because they're doing it on purpose in a try-scoring situation. They can get the hell off the field. That was Katoni Staggs in the first half. He did that and you could see it on purpose. Reece Walsh hit him high. They're trying to nullify him, right? Because of his massive ability in the air. If you slow them down in whatever way you can,
Right, sure.
because Xavier Coates is the one who's the best in the air of the two.
Yes, you expect to go that way. So you go the other way. Or kick down to control more.
Well, Warburg actually did score a try.
They had so many high ball targets, they just didn't utilize them. This is what confused me about this game.
I mean, I like Melbourne's first half performance. I thought that was one of the best first half performances.
They was
Minus the getting Mariner try, obviously.
That was so good.
Yes, Reece Walsh did score that good try, but then that was kind of nullified by Jerome Hughes's impressive effort up the other end as well.
So good.
So, and Meany's was quite a well-run try as well. So the tries that they scored,
It was really, really
each
good.
one for Warbrick was beautifully set up, right? And then in the second half, I think Brisbane happened. Well, I think Brisbane, they came out with more energy than Melbourne.
Yeah,
That's surprising because Melbourne had an extra 2 days.
see, Melbourne have done this whenever they've had like a game this year where they've just sort of coasted through it. The next week they get ambushed. I think a very similar thing happened here. They coasted through the first half. Brisbane came out in the second half and pulled their pants down.
It was kind of similar to the Canberra game, to be fair.
Yes, exactly. This is just how Brisbane have been this year.
They had
That's the entire finals run.
very cowboy-esque of 2016 or whatever it was. 2015, we just kept on coming back. Same sort of thing happening here. Look, the fact that Brisbane were there, they were lucky to get there. It's almost the Stephen Bradbury of rugby league games, right? Everybody fell over, or they were helped by some interesting decisions. And we've talked about the ones at Canberra,
Yeah.
you know, where they definitely got it wrong, and they've come out and said they got it wrong by sending Hudson Young off for 10. That should never have happened. Brisbane probably don't win at that point because they probably score at least 1 or 2 more tries then. Then they're under Cronulla. Yeah, well, that's.
They're playing against Canberra. I reckon they push Brisbane.
I reckon they would too.
That's the thing.
We're in a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
And Melbourne probably then go on and win, to be fair. So
I'm kind of glad it didn't happen.
I know. And look, Penrith were kind of unlucky not to beat them as well. You know, but they once again couldn't score a second half try.
Brisbane are just the best second half team like we've ever seen.
That's about the worst.
It's so weird. And I'm more impressed with the fight back that Brisbane had with a very clearly hobbled Payne Haas. Like he was not 100% at all. And they still found so many inroads. It's a pretty sad indictment on Melbourne.
Look, I think in the second half, Melbourne went away from their plan. And I think that's been discussed by some of the other commentators and stuff. And they didn't seem to follow the right plan. And I like Bellamy's statement. Yeah, there's some things we could do about it. You know, like tackle him. He's a good player, but he's not Superman. You know, straight line of defence will still stop him.
Yes.
So he knows how to attack a staggered line of defence, and that's what happened a lot in the second half.
The combo of him and Gehemet Shibasaki, I feel just ridiculous.
I still think it was a line ball pass that he made. too sucky.
But Squad's well in front of the one to Mariner was fine.
No, the one to Mariner was even further forward. That one was forward. It was at best flat. That was at best flat.
Fine.
Yeah, but he passed on the line and he caught it like 2 meters in front of the line.
Moving forwards, to be fair.
Yeah, but you can still. It doesn't have to go that far forward. Not as bad as that New Zealand try that time, which the ball went like 8.5 meters forward, literally. But look, you can argue that all day. The game's done and dusted. It's over. Till next year, where Melbourne again probably make the grand final.
Melbourne Penrith grand final next year.
Here's the thing. Penrith, Cleary got asked, was that the end of the dynasty or whatever else? And he goes, end of what?
No.
It was like when Queensland lost that series in 2014. Mel was asked whether that was the end of the dynasty.
They won 3 more series straight away. Imagine thinking that losing in a prelim final is somehow the end of a team being good.
Considering where they were at halfway,
What is this media cycle that we're on?
I don't get it. The media is dumb. We know this.
But then after that, the rest of
Is
the
it
world
time
is going
for a
down.
conversation that Craig Bellamy chokes in grand finals? He's made 12 and won 3 of them.
There's actually won more of those, but some got taken off him. Yes. Well, then he hasn't made those either then, so you can take...
Oh, okay, fine. So he's made, what, 9 and won 3 of them?
Yeah. Well, that's, to be fair, that's a 33% strike rate in grand finals. It's not horrible.
Paul Green has a higher grand final.
He only made it once.
He made it twice. He made it twice.
6%. Yeah, okay.
Michael Maguire has a higher grand final strike rate than that. I think he has 100% strike rate.
No, he was the Tigers. Making grand finals.
Making grand finals.
He won with the Rabbitohs. Yeah. That was against the Bulldogs.
It was time for that conversation that Craig Bellamy's a bit of a fraud.
No.
The fact that he's actually made more grand finals than Wayne Bennett's teams and he hasn't nearly as many games, I think that's probably not a conversation we need to have.
He's the Nico Hines of
He comes out and they win the next 2 or 3 in a row or something. It's like, yeah. Look, I think Penrith actually come back next year and could. They're in the fact Brisbane is mining that.
Penrith definitely feel like 2017 Melbourne vibes. I feel like they could lose maybe 2 or 3 games.
That's very possible. And look, good luck to Brisbane. They won. They rode their luck all the way through the finals. You have to sometimes.
Lots of storylines that got wrapped up for some of these Brisbane.
But there was. Penrith finished off the field.
I feel so bad for him.
Unfortunately, McCarthy's knees are going to do that to your face.
I feel so bad for him.
Finished off the field, which probably helped Brisbane, to be fair. Ezra Mann, he's a grub.
The only bad thing to come out of this is the premiership winning 5 8s.
Posted on Twitter, I was like, remember kids, if you're drunk and then get into a car and then injure a bunch of people, you're going to win a premiership next year.
Brilliant.
It should not have been a premiership then. Well, he didn't run into a bunch of people, really. He just crashed a motor. We've talked about that before, and I thought that's like he flipped a motor. That's impossible. It's what it's
like topless cars on magnetic island.
Magnetic island, yeah. And the wheels are all like on the 4 corners of it. It's like a roller skate.
I have no idea how you knock that thing over.
Yeah, well, I'll show you later on. But anyway,
I think a big shout out for this game has to go to Xavier Wilson, especially like in the stead of Payne Haas, who turned out 80 minutes last week. He only played 50 something this week. Extended minutes, 17 runs. He was immense.
He was good. Well, actually, look, I know that Tui did drop the ball, but I think he's been good in the final series for Melbourne. I think Tui has been fairly strong. I think he probably. Stefano was a bit quiet, actually. He was quieter than I was hoping he would be. And then he was still averaging more than 10 meters a run.
That's what happens when you poke the bear.
But, yeah, I just... You know why people don't like Brisbane, right? It's because they can't do anything with class. Yeah, there's no class there.
Football players notoriously nasty people.
Well, I didn't see the Cowboys when they won smoking cigars and...
I still think that's fine.
I don't not in a no smoking zone. It's not fine.
No,
I think that's
you're
fine.
stupid.
Victory cigars
Oh,
are
by the way,
the
you have copycats because Penrith did it first.
yeah, that's what it's victory cigars.
Now,
It's the whole
I
thing.
can do that back at their hotel. I don't care.
That's traditions.
And look, be a little bit more. I understand being excited and all that sort of stuff, but you have to be a little bit better than that sometimes. And Ezra Mann talking, it was funny. Comes on TV talking to Freddie. He goes, "Oh, are we on?" Yeah, and then he started swearing. Like prior to that, they were just talking away, not saying anything bad. And then he goes, "Oh shit!" It's like, shut up. You're actually sounding like you've got an IQ of about 5.
You seem like you're drunk anyway.
Look, they should know who not to talk to.
This is journalist.
I was like,
Well, it's partly journalists' fault.
I should interview.
No, that would be the one that was it Gordon Tallis who tried to interview Latrell Mitchell that one time and fully ripped into him. I don't remember that.
I do remember there was one when the Roosters won against Canberra with that bad play that Thurston asked him about it, and he goes, "Well, what about that good run I tried by Kelly?" And all Thurston's commentary mates just went, they didn't back him at all. And they were talking about it in the game, and suddenly when they asked the question, they're not, "No, thank you." Yeah, so
Journalism is a joke.
I feel for when that sort of thing happens. And look, Cameron Smith asked, I thought it wasn't a cheeky question, it wasn't a bad question to Madge about how did you get them on board with your like training style and stuff like that? How did you get them? And he goes, "Oh, blah blah blah," like a baby. You're supposed to be a senior coach. Act like a senior coach. Stop being a
Well,
nerd.
I think he's kind of justifying that because that was the narrative the entire preseason. Is that Matt is going to be too hard on these guys, and that's a slight against him for that. And it now being talked about when they won and everything is justified, and it's still being talked about. I get why Madge would be
But
frustrated.
I really, from what it looked like, it didn't look like that's what Cameron was trying to actually do. It looked like he was just trying to, because obviously it worked, and this is probably why he was asking it, rather than, to be a smart ass. He was probably just asking it because, look, it worked. How did you get it to work? Maybe he didn't want to tell anybody how he got it to work. So,
Why would you, right?
but it worked for the Cowboys in 22, right, as well. It was really hard pre-season, and they were the fittest club in the competition at that point.
Yes.
And this is, I think, what happened with Brisbane. They became the fittest club in the competition, which is why they could finish over the top of teams. And, they rode their luck. They got the final. Well done. Don't rest on your laurels. You will be chased next year.
Oh, I'm very scared for Brisbane next year.
Because there sometimes there's a hangover too.
Yeah, that's right. I meant to look at how Souths did in the week of their premiership.
Drought breaker, yes.
They finished 7th the year after.
Well, see, Brisbane finished 4th, which wasn't top of off, but it wasn't far away.
The Souths finished 3rd in their premiership year.
Yeah. So the Cowboys finished 3rd in their premiership year as well.
And made the prelim.
And made the prelim the year after, so they didn't really have a drop off.
I'm just counting because it's a Michael Maguire.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So I guess we'll see how that goes.
Look, like I said, well done. Don't get too comfortable. You're going to have many teams chasing the hell out of you next year.
Yeah,
What happens? You become hunted. People try and beat you. If they come against you, they act like even more so than normal. Apparently not.
Because the entire standard for a season after a premiership has been reset. Like 4 straight years of Penrith winning. So now I have no idea whether to think that there is going to be a hangover or whether Brisbane could be the new dynasty. I have no idea.
What could actually cause a big kerfuffle is this R360 rugby comp.
I think they're making out.
And I'm fucking paying us like $3 million.
I wouldn't move if I'm paying half.
Tax free.
I wouldn't.
That's like 3 times as much as he's getting at the Broncos.
I don't think he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would do that. I think there are a few players that might. Like I know Ryan Pappenhausen got floated for a while and he could be moving. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's one who I think definitely could, but he's come out and said that he seems to at least want to play out the rest of his contract with Parramatta, which is great.
So yeah, that was.
I don't think it's a big problem.
Well, I hope it's not, because if it is, that could really limit some stocks of rugby league players.
Ugh.
We're already pretty limited
And
already.
already limited, and the competition is going to continue to expand. The talent pool is getting really, really thin. If this does become an issue, it could be a big problem for rugby league as a whole.
I did hear, however, that Brisbane and North Queensland are going to actually put teams into the Q Cup next year, as Brisbane and North Queensland.
Oh, really?
I think it's either next year or the year after. It's one of
Oh,
them. Because
interesting.
they'll actually have their own feeder team coming through. I'm pretty sure I heard that on the radio.
One more team I have to pay attention to.
Pretty sure I heard that on the radio, so I'm hoping that's a thing. It'd be nice to see.
Pre-season twin, PNG fullback that we have.
Yes. It's like his first.
It's like
I don't remember. I know who you're talking
in the vein of
about. Is he in the Prime Minister's 13? No.
No.
in the vein of Ione and people like that, like really
Yeah.
pithy
Yeah.
fullback.
There he is.
Yeah, you could do worse.
You could definitely do worse.
But I don't know what you do. Put him at fullback.
What are you gonna do?
I don't
Scotty?
know.
Sort of drink water. He's a fullback.
Yeah.
Um,
What the Cowboys need to do is invest in development forwards. That is what they need to do. If this preseason comes around next year and I don't see John Radel on a development contract, I'm burning down the headquarters.
you know, that what a person from the Roosters, this young 19-year-old.
Yes, he's a big kid. He's like really, really large. Like, hold on. I'm trying to remember. He's 193, I think 124. He's big.
That's for New and Blake's side.
He's a big lad. Hold on, let me see if I can.
You always asking for a big forward.
Oh, let me see if I can find it. I know it was on here somewhere. Where is it?
Facebook feed, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't find it now. That's frustrating.
But anyway, that's something we can discuss like in another episode about player movements and stuff like that. But that was the week that was.
And that was the season that was.
That's the season, and we will be coming back to have a look at our pre-season tips, our pre-season tips.
I have two to answer for now. Because I was had the Warriors finishing with the wooden spoon, and I had Brisbane finishing in, I think, 11th.
And the 7th.
I think I
Stand by that one, okay?
I think I had Brisbane in 8th.
Well, I definitely have. Not necessarily as much as we thought.
Hold on. I
I did have Melbourne winning, but I wasn't too far off the back.
had the spreadsheet.
I got the Roosters finishing second because no one expected them to make finals.
I put them in the spreadsheet. Where is it?
Yeah, well, we can.
Aha, here they are. Where did? Okay, so yeah, I had them in 10th.
I had them in 8th.
You had them in 8th. Caleb had them in 14th.
That's finishing where they did last year. They didn't look good last
Anyway.
year.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Another time.
Well, I guess the last thing we can talk about is how this season as a whole played out for the NRL. Obviously, there's always it's setting more and more like viewership records year on year.
It is, but I think it's also some of the angst with the officiating and stuff has grown a lot as well.
Yeah, well, look, massive credit to the NRL. They fixed the obstruction rule problem. They fixed the obstruction rule. There has been nigh on no controversy that I've seen about any of those rulings. They've done that very, very well.
Yeah.
Now I think it's about adjudicating dangerous contact. Now is the big thing.
Forward passes would be nice.
Yeah, that would also be good.
Forward passes.
That one seems like the most simple fix, doesn't it? Look,
I've always been during general play that doesn't lead to any tries or anything like that. Look, the referees are going to get it wrong sometimes. But I think the bunker should be able to step in if a pass that is dubious leads to a try. Now, I know that you almost need to have cameras running beside the ball
like 5 meter intervals.
so to be able to see it accurately. But you can sometimes use do a stop motion and go, here's where the ball left the hand. stop it where they caught the ball. Is that viable?
But now you'd also need like really high vision of how the ball is exiting people's heads.
And that's also part of it. It's the throwback with the drift forward, that's always been okay. But
wouldn't even considering the fact that the bunker is completely useless. Who's to say that we get it right all the time? If anything, it would be one more thing for the NRL public to complain about when it comes to the bunker. And there's already so much there that I don't think the NRL would want to put an even bigger target on this thing.
Here's the thing, during general play, you've got these guys on the sideline who are supposed to be there for things like forward passes and all that. Soccer has like a whole bunch of them on the sideline. So I don't have a problem with that. Have one on the other half.
I wouldn't complain about
Neither would I. They'd be able to keep up with the play.
Like on each half.
Yeah, that's it. You don't
I have no issue with that. I think it would be a really good system.
One of them can't go past
halfway and then whatever, halfway to halfway. That would be fine.
I think that would be a great fix.
Yeah. Like,
Keeping up with
have the four on the Look, I've actually turned around it. You can call it either. Yeah, it's actually nicknamed soccer in England, not in America, like everybody seems to think. But football is still the more correct term, but soccer is okay.
I just think this made American soccer. Soccer is dumb.
Squad got released and then immediately changed because two wingers dropped out.
Like their own countries or
injuries, I think. Well, I know Zach Lomax dropped out. I don't remember who the other one was.
There are quite loads of Panthers in there, and they,
One,
I
two.
think Bradman Best there makes me happy.
Yeah, I like that. I like Ethan Strange being there.
There.
Second Preston's there. That's always nice.
Who do we think will get first crack at the fullback jersey? Will it be Edwards or Walsh?
It's the best of the team.
He's
no.
down from representative.
I'd give it to Walsh. I think.
They may, but they may just start with maybe in the lead up. But
I think it depends on how you want to build the team. Because it's like you've got two options for 5'8", which is Strange and Tom Dearden. I think who you pick of those two should determine who you pick at fullback. I think
you have three. 5'8", because Cameron Munster is.
Oh yeah, Munster is there too. Yeah, again, that's
I think Dearden will miss out.
I think Dearden will be off the bench.
He might be number 14.
I think Strange might be the odd man out, unfortunately.
Munster would be a good house.
But it won't be because it's going to be Nathan Cleary because he's there.
Moses is also there.
Moses.
We know how good he is at representing football.
But he could also go play for Lebanon or whoever he can play for.
He can go with Josh Mansour.
With Misty.
No, you can go play with Jacob Carraz. That's at least a decent NRL player. It's good. I'm happy that Dihemba Chivisaki. I'm very happy that Jacob Carraz got picked.
Not very surprised that Mark Nwanga got picked.
You have to put him in an Aussie rugby league jersey before he goes back.
He goes back to Union. Yeah. And of course, there are 7 debutants, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Good.
It's a pretty balanced team. So
the Prime Minister's 13. I know that Corey Horsburgh was there.
Harrison Edwards is there.
Harrison Edwards is in the team.
Well, I love you.
Cook Islands.
That's Cook Islands. I love you, Anthony Albanese, but you need to watch football. Sorry.
I don't love you, Anthony Albanese, but you still need to watch football.
Look, okay, Joe Gray is there.
Yeah,
that's a good pick.
Jason Saab.
He was.
What are you playing for Tonga?
He was fine.
Yeah.
Trey Fuller on the wing.
Bradman Best is also in the Australian team.
Oh, yeah. I imagine that will have to change. Who else is good? Fletcher Hunt. Oh, my word. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Why is Fletcher Hunt?
Flanagan is in the reserves.
No, they've got 2 halves on the bench with Wishart and Schneider.
That's pretty dumb.
I like Keon. He's there. I'm glad Corey Horsburgh is here.
I also like Keon's playing for, Australia.
Well, there aren't really many good halves anymore.
Strange is over.
Why is Trey Fuller on the wing? John Gray, I guess. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if this PNG team absolutely wipes the floor with them, as long as Rob Derby doesn't drop every other
Robbie!
pick.
Please do.
I will love it.
Actually,
Oh, is playing?
Right, we get to watch this Sylvester Namo guy that the Cowboys had for a little bit. I can't wait for him to be awesome.
Jack DeBellum.
Jack DeBellum.
Like his Papua New Guinean ever. And the Laybucks.
Yeah, super bye.
There's no Jack on it too, which is interesting.
oh, is that?
No, because he's terrible. That's why he's not there. He's crap.
Kyle Layman had retired.
Oh, I thought he had two, actually. That's weird. Yeah, international football is always fun. I like it.
That's good to watch, actually. It's probably before the rest of them anyway. So.
Silently cheering for PNG.
I actually like to see the PNG guys.
It'd be good before they join the NRL, just because it'd be nice for a team to enter.
Well, I guess
That was the season it was. We will be back to talk about
we'll be back to do our
a season synopsis
the season
and how our tips went at the start. Didn't go.
Very bad.
That was bad.
Some of them are okay.
Some are okay.
All right, we'll catch you then.
Thanks later on the flip side.
Thank you guys.